God Loves the Autistic Mind, Prayer Guide for Those on the Spectrum and Those Who Love Us, was published in 2022. It's written by Father Matthew Schneider of the Legionaries of Christ. Father Schneider is autistic himself, which makes this book very authentic and heartfelt. I'm going to spend most of this review summarizing part 1 of the book, which is entitled, What Makes Autistic Prayer Different? Chapter 1 is a general discussion on prayer. It discusses several types of prayer, like vocal prayer and liturgical prayer. Extra focus is put on mental prayer and stimming. Father Schneider argues that stimming is not contrary to prayer, as stimming can help an autistic person focus their mind and calm themselves. Chapter 2 is about going deeper into prayer. There are some difficulties that autistics can encounter. One is theory of mind, that is, the importance of engaging with God as a person and not merely engaging with God as a moral principle. Another difficulty is overly emotional discussions of Christianity, which are less satisfying than rational explanations. To put this another way, some people are more drawn to St. Thomas Aquinas than St. Therese of Lisieux. That's perfectly fine. There are some things about prayer that autistics find less difficult than neurotypicals do. They are better at seeing God in nature. They're better at adjusting to direct telepathic communication with God. As Psalm 139 says, God knows what you're thinking, even without your speaking it. A deeper level of prayer is a close encounter with God. God communicates with us according to the way we are. For example, God will speak to a Chinese person in Chinese, or to a French person in French. Similarly, God communicates with autistics in an autistic way. Another example is the way missionaries have to adapt Christianity for different languages and cultures. This applies equally to autistic communities, which have their own language and culture. Reaching out to the autistic community is, of course, one of the overall goals of this book. Chapter 3 is about myths about autism and prayer. Father Schneider starts by describing the most watched YouTube videos about prayer and autism and the problems with these videos. This is my favorite chapter of the book, maybe because I'm a YouTuber. One problem is that many of those videos contain deliverance prayers. That is, they believe autism is something demonic which must be removed. That is not true. Autism is the result of a change in brain structure, not a demonic influence. You can't pray autism away. Not to mention, it's just plain cruel to make videos telling autistics that they are demonic. Other videos stigmatize autism as the result of parental sin, which is false. That ignores the genetic component to autism, and it contradicts Jesus' own words in the Gospel of John, the story of the man born blind. Another problem with videos about autism and prayer is that many of them are not for autistic people. Father Schneider gives the example of a video where some parents pray with their autistic child. If you pay close attention to what they're saying and doing, you see that they're praying for the child, not with the child. The parents are doing the praying, not the child. And so it's incorrect to label that video as an autistic prayer video, since it does not help people with autism that want to pray. Father Schneider also discusses some problems with William Stillman, who's written award-winning books about autism and spirituality. Stillman leans too heavily on New Age beliefs, such as reincarnation and Reiki, which the Catholic Church does not support. Everything I've said so far is part 1 of the book. The majority of the book is part 2. It's a series of 52 meditations. Each one has a story, a Bible passage, a reflection, and a prayer. These are good and useful. As you'd expect, most of them are focused on autism, although there are also topics that you'd see in a typical Catholic prayer book, like the sacraments and the life of Jesus. I imagine some readers will skip part 1 and go straight to part 2. I myself was more interested in part 1, but part 2 is the more important part of the book. Unlike some of the videos Father Schneider took issue with, it's prayers for autistics written by an autistic. That makes them even more valuable, and perfectly aligns with the author's stated goal of being a missionary to the autistic world. Overall, I like the book, and I'm definitely going to give a copy to one of my autistic Catholic friends. I'd recommend it to autistics who are trying to develop a prayer life, or to people who are interested in the topic of autism and prayer, who want to learn more about the topic. That's all I have to say about this book. Thank you for watching my review, everybody.